I, 22F, can't introduce my GF, 24F, to my dad BC, he's fat phobic. What do I do? I, 22F, have been dating my girlfriend, 24F. Let's call her B, for a little over a year. I don't think I've ever been more in love in my life. She's funny, smart, emotionally mature, and just incredible. I love her so much. That's not what's up for debate. Objectively, B is on the heavier side. Her whole family has the same body type, so it's just the way she was built, and it isn't a health problem or anything. I don't see this as a problem. To be clear, I find her gorgeous. She's so confident in her own body and uses it well. Now, I had some weight struggles in my childhood. My father bullied me into multiple eating disorders, poor health habits, extreme depression, and self-harm. It has been a long road of healing and self-love to get where I am now. I know that if I introduce B to my father, it will not go well. I know that he will berate me for being with her. He will make fun of her behind her back. He will be so disrespectful to both of us. So I've lied to him about being in a relationship. He doesn't know B exists. So when I got called on work to attend a conference 20 minutes from my hometown and B suggested she come with to meet my folks, I couldn't exactly tell her why not. It started a huge argument between us in which I eventually told her the truth. And she did not receive it well. Now she thinks that I'm ashamed of her and don't think she's attractive. I understand why she's hurt. But it's not that I think this way. I'm trying to protect her. I've seen people actually get some helpful advice on here, so I figured I'd use the anonymity and ask, what should I do? So I would do a couple of things. 1. Talk to your girlfriend about what the abuse you lived through affected you. Maybe explain how your trigger is to protect yourself first, which you have realized you were doing, whilst thinking you were protecting her. That you are not ashamed of her in the slightest, but that the pressure from your father will be increased on you. You need to learn how to handle that, which is number 2. She may be able to help you with that. 2. Get some support, therapy for narcissistic abuse. Research online as well. Learn how to disengage. Create boundaries for yourself. Given your experience was in early life, this may take some time. There are books and online resources for children of narcissists that may help you. The steps are hard and you will get pushback from him and his flying monkeys. Information is your gift in this situation. Support from people is also very useful for you. I have cut off a narcissist. It wasn't easy, but it does get easier with time. As a fellow lesbian who is much older than you, I gotta say, the whole secret-keeping act doesn't work in the long term. She wants to meet your family because she sees a future with you. When you tell her your family can't know about her, you're telling her you don't see a future with her. You're saying, good enough to bang, not good enough to bring home. That kind of thing can destroy even the most loving of relationships. Eventually, you are going to have to stand up to your father. I know you don't want to, and you're protecting yourself with the excuse of family culture. But the truth is, it's going to hurt you if you don't find your spine. Don't allow a cruel and repugnant man to run your life and tell you who to love. Why don't you tell your GF the situation and let her decide if she wants to meet your fam or not? Give her the option to go, and stand up for her if the problem arises. It's one thing for your family to be jerks. It's another thing to stand by and let them treat someone you love any way they want. Let her meet your family. Show her off loud and proud. If she's confident in her body, she will be able to handle the criticism from small-minded family members. True love is hard to find. Who knows? Your family may not respond how you think. You did not handle this well and need to apologize. I believe you were protecting her but were partially protecting yourself. If she accepts your apology, arrange a visit but TTLK to your dad in advance. Show him a picture and ask if he thinks he can behave civilly. If he says no or says yes and fails, tell him you will be reducing contact with him for the foreseeable future. If he says yes and fails to behave civilly, tell him that the way he is behaving is unacceptable and end the visit and block him for at least a month. If he is polite to her face but harasses you about her behind her back, end the call and block him for a month. But also be honest with yourself that you are just a little embarrassed and want the approval of a man who does not deserve yours. My boyfriend didn't introduce me for several months to his mother. He finally told me that it's because she has behaved unpleasantly towards previous girlfriends that he'd introduced to her, e.g. picking one negative about their appearance or character and going on and on about it. I appreciated him telling me. I have met her a few times now and she is very icy towards me. And no doubt she says awful things about me behind my back to her friends and probably my boyfriend too. But at least I know the kind of person she is. Please tell your girlfriend the situation. You told her the truth. Now show her the truth. Take her with you to see your dad. She at least knows what to expect. Is there a reason why your father is still in contact with you? Tell your beautiful girlfriend it's not her you're ashamed of. It's your father. Also, I'd tell dad about her. Be honest, tell him she's a bit bigger and you love every ounce of her. And you haven't told him earlier because you didn't want to hear him criticize her and that you won't stand for him abusing her like he did you. You might also arrange for her to meet your mom or siblings. Dad can meet her when he can behave. Instead of protecting her, why don't you let her judge for herself whether your father is an asshole or not? You've already explained how much of a jerk he was to you growing up. Let her see it for herself, and if he's the kind of guy you've described, you probably won't have to make a repeat visit. Preventing people from hearing bad things isn't always protecting. Sometimes it can be stifling. Or people assume that you think you know better than them, which is probably the case here. Remember, honesty is the best policy. There's nothing wrong with explaining that your dad was a prick and the reasons why. I don't get along with my dad for different reasons, but I wouldn't hesitate to tell anyone that asked why we don't get along. Sure, you don't need to offer to anyone who doesn't ask, and they don't need to know the intimate details, but just a rough explanation of the hows and whys. This is what I think you should do. Talk to your father. Tell him you are in love with a woman who is overweight and you know how your dad already feels about it, but you are serious about her and would like to introduce her to him. See what he says. Personally, as an overweight person with overweight family and my husband's mom who is underweight and probably has an eating disorder, she has never been explicitly rude about my weight but has made positive comments when I've lost some weight. She clearly was uncomfortable with overweight people in general, which I find hilarious because it's not contagious or something. Regardless, explain to her that you can bring her to your dad's house, but he will probably say something or act rude in some way. If she wants to go through that and you will support her either way, then go for the meeting. To be fair also, unless you go no contact with him, you will probably need to have them meet at some point. It seems through lying to your dad you might be a bit ashamed. If not, have them meet. If he's rude, she will understand why you didn't want this. I had to shun my family for a year. Right now my mom and plus-sized wife are out shopping. Only took a decade of hard work for my family to start to get over it. Dude, you kinda fed this up. So definitely work to fix it. Let your father know in advance that you are worried as she is on the heavier side and you didn't like how you were treated and don't want anyone else to be treated that way. You also need to tell your girlfriend that it's your trauma from childhood that stopped you, as you don't want her to get hurt like you were. Let your father know that if he doesn't behave appropriately, he won't be seeing any more of you. Girl, I love you, but my dad's a dick, so I'd rather not have you meet him. Okay, I grew up with a grandmother who would literally force me to eat because I was too skinny, and then when I became a teenager I was too fat, so she would withhold food and give me tiny portions. When I turned 17 and went to visit her because my father was at work, she started in on me and I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "Look, I love you. You either accept me the way I am or you don't. But you don't have the right to comment on my or anyone's weight. Not everyone can be in perfect shape." She never commented on my weight again. Sometimes it takes you to grow a backbone and stand up for yourself and others. Stop using cultural differences, and "it's my culture," as an excuse to let your father be disrespectful to you and others. Here is my advice. Explain to your girlfriend the mental and emotional abuse and the trauma it put you through. Explain to her that your father might have a go at her. If he does, you need to stand up for her in your relationship. But this is the only way you'll have a future with her. Because right now she is likely thinking about your future. And there is no future if she doesn't meet your parents and family. Here is something else for you to think about. Do you see yourself spending the rest of your life with this woman? If the answer is no, end the relationship now. If the answer is yes, do you plan on marrying her? If the answer is no, is that a choice for both of you? Does she want to get married? If the answer is yes, end the relationship so she can find someone who does want to marry her. Now, if the answer to you wanting to marry her is yes, how are you going to do that without your father showing up? Are you going to hide her from your side of the family forever? Because I have yet to see any culture that is going to be okay with that. And I have yet to meet any person who would be willing to be the secret spouse. Or are you going to try to force her into changing her entire lifestyle and into being skinny? You either grow up and stop using culture as an excuse and you prepare her for the fat shaming to come from your father. You stand up to your father. Or you end the relationship. I was beaten up by a group of men in April. My knee was broken and my head was smashed. My partner, whom I love dearly and who leaves the city for the beach often during the summer, decided for me that I couldn't go to the beach. That hurt. He could have just asked me if I wanted to go, and I did want to. Don't make decisions for your partner. Tell them your concerns and let her decide. Damn op, many PPL in her comment section are obviously extremely lacking in empathy and, good for them, have never actually experienced parental abuse or tried navigating complicated family issues. PLs don't listen to their anger and hatred, they're spitting at you. It's very common for these PPL to act this way towards victims. I understand that you feel you cannot go no contact with your father. And I respect that you have your reasons for that and won't push it on you. It's up to you to know when or if it's the time one day. And sometimes that doesn't line up on some perfect timeline that these people try to create for us. Healing isn't linear. It sucks, but it's life. For now, PLS, communicate everything you're feeling to your GF. You obviously love her very much, and I do not agree with other commenters projecting on you saying, "You must be embarrassed of her, you're just lying." I do not think you are. It's extremely hard to navigate having a partner while dealing with family issues, and the best thing you can do for your and her sake is be completely honest with her and reassure her of her importance in your life and your feelings for her. You love her. Don't let your family push her away from you. Explain your concerns and let her make her own decision. Honor her decision either way. And make a plan to leave if they attack her. You don't have to fight them. But do not let her be subject to their abuse under any circumstances. Their bigotry is their own, and you should protect her from that at all costs. I wish you so much healing and continued love, and I hope you're able to find your way out one day, Pink Heart. Rephrase. Don't introduce your dad to your girlfriend because he is an abusive dick. Let her know it's because you don't want her to have to put up with him or suffer his dickishness. You are ashamed of him, not ashamed of her.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.